On tonight's show, we talked about Victor Wembanyama, his debut in the NBA Summer League on Friday night, and currently playing right now against the Portland Trailblazers. How he looks, what should he work on, and how he fits with the current Spurs team come training camp. Plus, Dame Lillard had a rough going first couple games in Summer League in Sacramento, but bounced back. We'll discuss his performance as well. Scoot Henderson looked pretty damn good in the first half of Portland's game Friday. Unfortunately, he got hurt. We'll discuss how he looks and could his play accelerate a Dame Lillard trade down the line. Plus, and speaking of Dame Lillard, when does the trade get done with him in Portland? Does he get his trade wish to the Miami Heat? Or does somebody else get involved for the Dame sakes? Plus, we'll go over other news we missed in free agency, WNBA, all that good jazz. But thank you for joining us on Fastback Live on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all his sports, and you're welcome to join us. And joining us as you shout tonight, ladies and gentlemen, lots to talk about, lots to get into here in on the network. Right now, we got Wembanyama playing against the Portland Trailblazers, and with the Spurs playing against the Trailblazers. So we got that going on right now. Portland's up 5-3. You know, Wembanyama, his first Summer League game against the Hornets, not bad, but in his words in the press post game, it could have been better. So we'll see how he looks in this game against Portland. We'll talk about like all showtime. But D-Lock, how you doing tonight, sir?
I'm doing well, man. I'm definitely looking at these games and trying to see what's going on with these rookies. So very interesting. Definitely love what I see from Anthony Black yesterday. So that's just one of the few players that has been standing out over the summer league so far.
Yeah, a lot of these kids look good. Excuse me. So far. So it's gonna be fun. Looking at these kids play. You know, for Victor, for Brandon Miller, Scoot Henderson, like you mentioned, Anthony Black, the Thompson twins, Cam Whitmore, you know, and others. So, Jamie Jaquez. So, everybody looking pretty good so far. But, let's talk about the number one overall pick, D-Lock. Victor Wembanyama. Had a good, solid showing Friday against the Charlotte Hornets. The team did pick up the win against Charlotte because Charlotte is kind of being like one of the like bad teams we've seen in Summer League. It's like the coaching has no direction. They're letting these guys just play and stuff like that. I think it's just a bad look all around how these guys are playing. Let me bring you in. Victor's debut in the Summer League. What are your thoughts on it? How he looked? What he needs to work on? What do you think overall on his debut Friday against the Hornets?
Well, I think his first of all, it's great to give him the chance to be, congrats to being into the league. I think that now we see another player who can put a lot of work into this league that we love to watch. But I think that his performance wasn't bad. I mean, it wasn't something that we wanted to yell at and say, well, hell, you are 7'3", 7'4", you're going to be the best player in the league right at the moment. But didn't shoot that really well. I feel like him and Brandon Miller got something to motivate them to play the best game that it can. So shooting 2 for 13, understandable right at the moment. I don't know why the hell he shot 6 threes, but hey, if it happens, it happens. Uh, 8 boards and 9 points. I'm not really mad at that. I think, like I said, I think he will continue to be uh, a better player the more he plays. As any sport happens, when athletes transfer from being a professional, from college to being a professional, or hell, sometimes high school to professional, the game is a lot faster.
Yeah.
So he has to make that adjustment. Now, obviously, it's not in the NBA league that will start later on down the year, but I'm pretty sure that this game is a hell of a lot faster than what he's been dealing with. So right now, not too mad at it. Obviously, the nerves had to come and kick in, and now it seems like there's a good chance that, like I said, more experience, he'll be a better player this next game, or the game he's playing tonight. But I definitely think that also another thing is there's going to be a target on his back. He's a number one draft pick, so everybody's going to come for him. They want to play their best game against him, so he just has to be prepared for that. And if so, I think over time he will prevail, be the best player that he can be. And he has one of the best coaches who we just seen get an extension recently in Greg Popovich. I think he's going to be fine. But that first game, like I said, I think he was just shaking the rust off a little bit, getting used to that speed. I think he'll be better tonight.
Yeah, to the chat. Actually, Victor, the Spurs are playing right now against the Blazers. Victor is on the bench right now. So, he's on ESPN2, I believe. So, if y'all want to watch that, it's live right now. So, we'll see how it goes. For me, I'm glad I recorded this so I'll go back and watch a little bit. But for me, I think the positive that he has, he seems more, he's more mobile than I thought he would be. He's watched some of the videos and stuff like that, playing in France. You got to remember, international, the courts are smaller and stuff like that, and the lanes are smaller. And all that good jazz. And I think I think Victor has talked about a teammate of his over in France telling, like, when you get to the pros, the lanes and stuff will be wide, the court's more bigger, the lanes be more wide open. So you probably get more freedom, like more room to do your thing. And we constantly saw bits and pieces down on Friday, handling the ball, moving down the court, going, ISO, the posting up, the real polish in his offensive game and stuff like that. It was very great. How he handled the ball and stuff like that, dribbling between his legs, all that stuff. It's like, man, be 7'3" like that, they handle the rock like that, the passing, all that stuff. A real good thing to see, in my humble opinion. And then on the defensive side of things, the weak side, I don't think he'll be like a good straight up defender like that. But weak side, oh yeah, that's gravy. I think that's where he'd be best at on defense, helping weak side and stuff like that. When he blocked Brandon Miller's shot, which I believe in the second half, he timed, or in the first half, I think he timed that pretty well, and he blocked that shot. And Brandon Miller is no, short guy. He's like a long 6'9" himself. So to get up there and block his shot like that at the 3-point line, I was like, oh, okay. If he can do that on a consistent basis against some of these guys in the league, and maybe the guys on the Spurs like Jeremy Shohan and others, Keldon Johnson, you can get those fast breaks out and early, that good stuff. And that's another element to that Spurs team that we could be looking at down the line. But, the things he got to work on, as polished as he is offensively, I think it may come during time. He got having more of a face-up game. I like the back to the basket stuff. I do, trust me. But also, have a good, strong face-up game. Like face-up, and just rise over folks. I wish, he could do that more against Charlotte Friday. But I give credit to Brandon Miller. He played, when at times they match up with each other, he plays a good defense on Victor. And, what Mike said, maybe it's tall and size and stuff and thinness, you get that little, toughness on him. He kind of goes down pretty easily. And Mike Pat said that, Mike C saying, he made it bulk up a little. Yeah, that's what I said in my mock draft. I think, you need to ask straight to him, but I think that will come in time. But, hell, we kind of said thing about Kevin Durant when he came out, but hell, look at him now. So, but he's going to be down low like that. And now on the perimeter, yeah, he probably needs to add some strength. Kind of like how Giannis came in, D-Lock. How he's like super skinny, and then next thing you know, he's like big, bulky, and stuff like that. I think that's, the route he needs to go in. I don't think, he's going to be like playing like Giannis. He's going like attacking the rim. But he got more finesse to his game compared to Giannis. And, I like what I saw. The Champagne guy on the Spurs, who they got in the Summer League, he's a real keeper. I think he played at Texas, I believe. I have to double check that, but he's like a real steal that really should be a player for them, for the Spurs down the line if they do keep on the roster. But I like what Victor did. Even he said in the post game, with Cassidy Hubbard, that's something I'm not happy about it, but I'll improve. And I think that's the mentality that you like, and that's the mentality I think Popovich likes as well.
I mean, for me, like I said, I think that over time, we're talking about somebody with super high expectations. I think he's going to get there, but it's going to take time to actually see it. The more games, the more reps, we'll see. And this is the reason why a lot of young players do the rookie league or the summer league. They want to get those repetitions in. And, the Spurs are at a phase now where they have a lot of young players. Remember, we talked about them trading DeJounte Murray last year, who just got paid. They did that to make sure they respected what was going on with DeJounte Murray, put him with a contender, and also for them to be in this position. They got a lot of these young players. Now you got a chance to grow. But these are those reps that they need prior to the season. Because as much as these games count for them to get their reps in, this does not count for, the season coming up later on down the road. So for me, I think, we've seen the first game. Hell, with any player in any league, they struggled at first. Most players, they struggled their first professional game.
Yeah.
And that's fine. That happens. So once that happens, there's only a few that have not. So once that happens, you get, kind of get the rust off, you get used to what's going on, and then you get to it. So for me, I'm not really too much bothered by it, but I definitely would love to see what happens the rest of the summer league for Victor.
Yeah, I think kind of like we're looking at Houston with Jarabi Smith. kind of had an underwhelming rookie year. And now, you got a new coach and Emil Yukata. And then this past Friday against Portland, had the game winning shot, last second shot that we posted on our Twitter account at Fast Break IESR. Last second shot that, received a pass from Torrey Easton. And, today, against the Pistons, he had 38 points and sitting there, talking crap to James Wiseman. So, from an underwhelming rookie season and then coming to, this second goal, it's going around this time around, the second year, you got more confidence to yourself. You kind of go in the mindset, you better than these guys. All that good jazz. And then now you kind of, helping, your younger, you newly drafted guys and Ben Thompson, who unfortunately got hurt. It's going to be out for 4 weeks. And Cam Whitmore, who looked really, 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 really good in that game against Portland. I didn't check out the game against Detroit. I just got home not too long ago. But that game against Portland, man, I think some teams going to regret passing on him. I'm not, time will tell, but you talking about a top 6 talent. Y'all worry about, him not interviewing well. And it's going to probably bite some of y'all GMs in the ass. But, from the Cam Whitmore looking good in his first game to Victor, like I said, this middle of the road right now. Right now, he's not in the game against Portland. We look at Brandon Miller. He had a couple rough games, in Sacramento, but kind of came back this past Friday. Looked pretty damn good. Looked like the Brandon Miller we saw in Alabama. Hell on the rock. Getting open shots. And Charlotte just looked fucking... Sorry for my language, but they look pitiful. The coaching is pitiful. They got these
that
guards.
coaching was bad.
It's just like watching them these past 3 games. It just look bad how coached they are, and they've been getting beat by double digits and stuff throughout this summer league run, and that's not a great look. James Bouknight has been in the league for a couple years now. Kai Jones as well. They ain't like they show no growth at all. At least you could be like you could look at Jarabi Smith. You could see growth. Okay, coming in and dominating. You can see that growth. But some of the other guys have been in here for a little while, and you're not seeing that growth. And
Nah, I mean, I think that's what I talk about and what we talk about as far as development. Teams fail to develop their athletes.
yes,
A lot of them. And, a lot of times we hear, oh, well, this person's a bust. They haven't done this. They haven't done that. But I don't think it's just necessarily all on the player. The coaches play a huge part. And it's about how you develop them. How you put them together, put them in the right spots or X, Y, and Z. And if you can't develop your athletes, it's not going to look good moving forward.
yeah, it's not going to look good. I look at the box score right now for Houston. Cam Whitmore, 9 for 16 for shooting, 3 for 7 for 3-point land, 21 points for him. Like I said, 38 points for Jarabi Smith. Tari Eason, another guy in his second year, a guy that you really like coming out LSU. 26 points for him and 9 rebounds. That's the growth you got to see. Even James Robinson didn't have a bad game. 17-10. He ain't played bad. Amin Thompson, 12 points, 6 assists, 8 rebounds. Good stat line by him. Jaden Ivey, second year in, 10 assists, 22 points, 9 for 15 for shooting. 7 fouls. It is what it is. Some people they kind of hanging on Brandon Miller 7 fouls and stuff like that. Summer league. I mean, yeah, you don't want to take a lot of fouls like that, but you know, it ain't the end of the world. It's just like you trying to see more of a what can you do offensively, what can you do defensively, the intangibles, little things like that. You know, I'm not worried about fouls unless he's showing good progress during these games.
Yeah, that's what you really want to see. You want to see the progress. You see some of these fouls that's not going to be like, oh shit. I mean, you can fix those. You want to see them be aggressive, and that's what you draft these players. You want them to bring a big asset to your team. And Cam Whitmore literally showing right now that he can bring an asset, a big one. So for me, I think that when we see how this summer is going, you know, they continue to put those games in. I think we'll see a big improvement about all the better players. But again, Charlotte needs to make sure they know how to develop their players because you got some talent, man. You got to make sure you do right with them.
And then just watching right now, Victor Wembanyama just blocked a shot on Rupert at the 3-point line. And I think they're going. In today's league, they're going to have in these situations and the switches on the perimeter. But I think once we get to the NBA season, I think one thing these teams going to probably get a scout report on. Okay, this dude can play on the switch and probably could defend the shot. If he gets matched up, on a switch on Steph Curry, how that's going to look. That'll be real interesting to see. How Steph Curry going to shoot over that. Dame Lillard. Whoever else. I'm drawing a blank right now. Kevin Durant. Are they going to see the scouting report like, hey, this guy a good timing 3-point shots. You get the switch on him. Be aware of that. Now, do some of these guys get hesitant against Wembanyama? Do they drive the lane? Try to get past and take advantage of that. So, I think, that's why, intrigued by this young man's game. And like Mike Pat brought in the chat, just pray to God that, that he can hold up. And, all that good stuff. So we'll see how he does. We'll pop in from time to time to talk about Wembanyama's performance right now against the Blazers. They down by 9 right now in the second quarter. To be honest, I haven't seen him score yet. If he has, I apologize for missing it. But to kind of stay in the summer league for a little bit, D-Lock, what's your opinion on Scoot Henderson? Because that first half for that Blazer game against Houston, looking pretty damn good. What's your thoughts on Scoot Henderson in his first game in the summer league?
Well, my thing is, I think that he's looking impressive, man. I mean, for one, let's talk about this first, and we'll touch on to it later on. I already got the news, the fact that Dame wants to be traded. That is like the number one thing that's going on in the NBA. Everybody's talking about it. They're so for sure that Dame wants to leave Portland. He's over here saying that he ain't taking no other trade or he don't want to go anywhere else than Miami. So while all that shit is going on, you got Scoot Henderson balling, straight balling. And like I told you before air, I said I looked at his highlight tape prior to the draft, and it was like, damn, like, this is who this dude is? Like, he looks like a man among boys. So when you do have a chance to draft somebody like this, I understand who Dame is, what he's done, but it makes it a little bit more, okay, you know what, fine, we'll do whatever you ask to please you, Dame, because you got somebody like this that you just drafted. The game against the Rockets, 5 of 13, like you said, 15 points, 5 assists, 5 rebounds, 6 assists. Him and Shaden Sharp basically took over that game.
Oh yes.
So when you have these guys, it makes it a hell of a lot easier to say, hey, you know what? I don't want to get off Dame. I appreciate you. You are one of the better players that we have ever had. But since you want to leave, we prepared for that. We've got somebody in the fold right now. So for me, I'm loving what Scoot Henderson is doing, man. The biggest thing for me is they should learn from this experience with Dame. They waited a little too long to get him situated, to get players around and surround him with winning. You got you a guy right now. And Scoot Henderson could be that guy. Him and Shaden Sharp. Those are your young pieces. My opinion, hard to go. I mean, you possibly could look at that trade, go get you a Tyler Hero, or go get you somebody else. Go grab you a big with Scoot Henderson and go grab you a big with Scoot Henderson. Now you go get one with him and Shaden Sharp. Now you got you a pretty young team that can compete, especially in the West. But all in all, man, I'm loving what I'm seeing from Scoot Henderson, man. I think that him and Shaden Sharp are going to be two real solid pieces. As we've known and we've seen for the longest, the Portland Trailblazers have always been high-scoring games all the time. So I would expect these guys to be very competitive and play a big difference. But Scoot Henderson looks like the pick that they needed. And I'm pretty sure it's probably, why a lot of Charlotte fans probably wanted him over Brandon Miller. But you can't go wrong with either one. But when you do see that kind of showing from Scoot Henderson, it definitely is like, wow, I'm definitely loving what I'm seeing so far.
We can probably segue to this, but it's like, if he's coming out like this, and if you're Portland, ownership, whatever, I know that's in limbo right now, but front office wise, if you've seen this and you kind of envisioning what he can be, then you may have to accelerate that trade to kind of get this dude all the minutes he can. Like, I understand you're trying to get the best RV that you can for Damian Lillard. But damn it, like, if he wants to go to Miami, like, get it done. I don't know why people are frowning up their noses at Tyler Hero now. Even like a couple years ago, that he'd been like a staple in a trade, but like ever since he got the contract extension, we don't want him, which is just weird. But if you're Portland, Shaden Sharp looked pretty good in that game until for that last couple minutes he took some very bad shots. But that like coming time and growth with Chauncey. And probably pulling to the side, hey, young blood, you can't do that. Think about the situation we're in, all that stuff, and we're up 2. So, but man, you gotta get that. I'm gonna say, get it done as soon as possible. That trade, but you kind of gotta get this kid the minutes that he needs. To be honest with you, and. It sucks he got hurt in that game, and he's not playing tonight, which really, really, really sucks. But if you're Portland, you kind of really encouraged that, yeah, we may ship Dame off, but we got our replacement in the fold. And, if Sharp continues to develop, because I know how he will be coming out of Kentucky, well, sort of kind of Kentucky, after he ain't played for a while, organized ball in a while. He's looking pretty good. don't know Anthony Simon's future because he's always been in the trade talks and something gets done. But, you know, those three young guys, you know, you drafted Murray. You got a nice little core right there, you know. And it sucks they got rid of Trent Walford down low. If they had kept him and maybe you can get rid of the veterans and stuff like that, you got a nice young crew right there that you can roll with. Nice 5 guys right there I just named out. And if I'm Portland, I'm seeing that. I got to take my chance with that. Because think about this, D-Lock. The Spurs got a young roster right now. They got probably future All-Star in Victor Wembanyama. Just stay in the West here. OKC. I think we all in agreement that, you know, all that talent there, they coming down the road pretty here soon. Like Larry B brought in chat. Jabari Smith, he's been going off here in Summer League. Houston got a young roster, and from what Ime Udoka has said, he don't really want the veterans like that. I mean, yeah, they signed Dylan Brooks, Fred VanVleet, but he don't want no James Harden either. So, yeah, he got VanVleet and Dylan Brooks in the fold, but he's going and trust a lot of his young guys. So, Jabari Smith, Jalen Green, Ken Whitmore, Tari Eason, Amen Thompson. So, you look around the league, D-Lock, down the road here, Lakers getting old. Clippers old. Phoenix old. Minnesota in the mud. Denver, long they got Jokic, Murray, I think they'd be straight. Dallas, Kyrie's already 31. So how long do you really think you get out of him? So if you're Portland, you kind of want to get this started now than later.
And that was my thing. I mean, like I said, you go get you Scoot Henderson, Shane Sharp. They look extremely well. You trade Dame, you boost up those minutes. Those players are going to look extremely good come the regular season. Now, we know what Yusuf Nurkic is. Just paid Jerami Grant. You know, at this point, I believe Justice Winslow is still there. You got to go get you a big because Scoot Henderson is showing you that he's worth where you drafted him at. And if he can continue to show you that, now you can go get you some great pieces by trading Dame. Now, that doesn't mean that he lands in Miami. You see a better trade package, then you might have to consider, you know, other options. But they need to tag on getting another big. They're good at the guard position. I mean, if you can add in the hero, but you need to get you another big. And I think that's something that they definitely need to focus on.
Yeah, I think they need to focus on that. You know, wherever deal they do in the trade, like you alluded to, if you get a good, nice young big, Juric, I'm butchering his name. If you get him off the books because he ain't been stay healthy enough for you to do anything, if you get off the books and get you a nice young big to develop, now you're cooking. Now we're cooking. And, you know, it's kind of living for Portland, you know, down the line. You know, I also I forgot about Sacramento. They kind of seem like they finally turned the corner. The Warriors, they were kind of in the same boat with some of these young teams with the 2 timeline thing. But now since, you know, Wiseman's gone, Kuminga, I'll say this: if Kuminga has shown like promise and stuff like that, and they gave him and had more confidence in them, Draymond Green probably would not have been re-signed. If we're gonna be real about that. But like you alluded to about the development and stuff like that, which I don't think Steve Kerr can develop young guys. That's just my opinion. I mean, yeah, you could say Jordan Poole, but we see how that worked out. But Poole's gone, Wiseman's gone. Kuminga's like on the fence. Booty, same thing. And now you look at the Warrior team. A lot of guys mid-30s. Your main guys are mid-30s. Kevon Looney. Somebody that don't scare me. Wiggins. Solid player, but somebody that don't scare me. So you're Portland. You kind of want to get things going, get things developed. So down the line, like a Golden State, Lakers, Clippers, Phoenix, those type of teams, Minnesota, some of these older teams that kind of like doing different things, and now you kind of like, okay, we're coming. New Orleans, like I said, we talked about in the past. Zion's focus. They'd be top of the West. Memphis, same thing. But you want to kind of get things rolling, in my humble opinion.
Yeah, and if they can do that, I think you're looking at a better team moving forward. But like I said, Portland has some young pieces, and that's what we're seeing. What a lot of teams are doing, they don't have the top 20 guys in the league. They're just basically rebuilding, and they're getting the young pieces to move on with, and it makes sense to do that, especially how this league is going. But like I said, I definitely like I said, what Scoot can bring to the table. And Portland should definitely be happy so far.
Yes, sir. And we'll probably talk a lot more about these young teams and stuff like that, and the potential, like a lot of these guys, bring and stuff like that. But switching gears, I did want to get this in on tonight's show. Back, I think, like a few weeks ago, Bob Huggins. Now, you can say former coach of West Virginia or the current coach of West Virginia basketball. Bob Huggins, late last night, or his lawyer came out and said that he never resigned for West Virginia. That's according to his lawyer. If some of y'all don't know, Mr. Bob Huggins, I think it happened in Pittsburgh, I believe. Got charged with a DUI and then, promptly retired after that. And beforehand, that DUI, I think a month before that, he was on a radio show in Cincinnati. And, Bob used to be a head coach at Cincinnati Bearcats. He was talking about Xavier. He and the radio host, they were going on, all that stuff. And they, Huggins dropped the F, said a slur that I'm not going to repeat here. But it goes along with the career community. And it got some heat. Not he only said it once, D-Lock, if you remember, but he said it twice during that radio interview. So Mr. Huggins is already on a slippery slope as it is. Now we kind of get here late in Saturday night. To my knowledge, He's not the coach right now. I'll read this statement right now. I think, let's see. I'll read the statement that he sent that he resigned back on June 22nd. Mountaineer Nation. Today I submitted a letter to President Gordon G. and Vice President and Director of Athletics Ren Baker, informing them of my resignation and intention to retire as head men's basketball coach at West Virginia University. My actions do not represent the values of the university or the leadership in this role. While I've always tried to represent our university with honor, I have let all you and myself down. I am solely responsible for my conduct and sincerely apologize to the university committee, particularly to the student athletes, coaches, staff, and our program. I must do better, and I plan to spend the next few months focused on my health and my family, so I can be the person that they deserve. So that's the part of it. His own daughter said when he got busted, D-Lock, for the DUI, that, he keeps a lot of those, cans because he recycles. Not my words, ladies and gentlemen. Her words, depending on her daddy. God bless her. I wish my daughter, if I do something stupid, defend me like that. But I tell her I am my own man. But D-Lock, after seeing all this, players have actually transferred out to other schools here the past week. What do you think of all this whole mess going on with Bob Huggins of West Virginia? And as a person who coaches in NCAA and all that stuff, what are your opinions on this? How this situation is going about right now?
Well, there's a lot that should not happen. The biggest thing for me is obviously the whole DUI situation. That can happen. That shit kind of happens. If that doesn't happen, we're not having this conversation.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that he has to eat that. Understand that he was wrong in that scenario. But even with that, I think this is how a lot of jobs work, or a lot of companies work. We see a lot of times that coaches or people, it says that people resign or they step down. But in all reality, I think that they're basically fired. They just wanted to look better for the coach or the person. And he wasn't having that. He probably wanted to stay at West Virginia. More likely. But you got all these guys transferring because they're there, as most people are not. They're there and they're seeing what's going on. So for me, it's just a lot of turmoil, a lot of confusion, a lot of things that can mess up this university. And when you have, something like that, because, you get, once you put yourself in, you put yourself in this situation to where you are a coach, you do something, it's definitely going to be looked at. Something simple, and something not simple, but something like, driving under the influence. We see a lot of college athletes get in trouble for that. Hell, I think we just seen a Georgia player just now, I think the third or fourth Georgia player, driving 30 miles over the damn speed limit. So these things don't look good. And when you have a coach do that, it doesn't help anything. So for me, this is just a lot of a mess. But we do need to fix this. And it's going to take, a lot to fix. And it's going to take universities, other people around to understand that the impact that these coaches make on these athletes is huge. But on West Virginia's side, the fact that they went approach it that way, that's not good. I mean, clearly he wants to stay there. Now I believe he's threatening to sue them, get involved. Like, it's not good, man, and it's going to make West Virginia look even worse. But I don't think he's going to come back. With all of this other shit going on, all of this, I think at some point he's definitely not going to come back. My whole opinion is how bad it looks on the university because you got players transferring out already. This is not a professional team to where these players are under contracts. At some point, the athletes that are there now, they're going to have to replace. So imagine what high school athletes are thinking when they see this. This could definitely hurt West Virginia in the future.
Yeah, I just think it's like, what's Bob Huggins's end game? What is his end game? I don't know where is this going to go. What's the motivation? Because you got some kids that transferred into your program, and now those same kids are looking around like, he ain't gonna be here. I came here for him, and I'm gonna bounce. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna bounce. Alabama. They got the big man from West Virginia. Trying to find his name right now, but shit. They just got him, and they needed a big man. That the Charles Bediako declared for the draft. But like I said, you lost your big man already. We're about 10 days in July. I don't know wherever kids are out there to kind of get in this point before fall campus classes start. So, I always like Bob Huggins. I always like his coaching style, D-Lock. But it's like, he's going out sad right now. And that's how it is looking. It's cool. I mean, we understand you got a problem. Deal with that. But don't drag like you said. Don't drag the university down. And you seem like your lawyer is trying to like was not best for you, and your lawyer should like telling you, "Hey, Bob, I don't think it's gonna look good." And we wasting your time and money on this. And let's be real. I said this on Twitter on the Fast Break page. Yeah, he may retire, but we've seen coaches come back. And it's not like, he can come back. I mean, go to another job. I know it's West Virginia's home and all that stuff. His alma mater, but still, D-Lock. It's like, we've seen coaches get other jobs after stuff like this. Larry Eustace comes to mind. Except for Art Browse. He can't get a fucking job nowhere. But anyways, you get my point.
Right.
It's like, even you lose a job like this. It's not like, next offseason and some job opens up and he takes that job. Bob Huggins is one of the finest coaches in the country. I just don't understand, trying to sue to get his job back. And then let's say if he does, your roster's gone. A lot of guys are gone. I just think I think it's like a clean break for the situation, but I don't know, why he's doing this. I'll let you have the last word on it.
Yeah, I mean, and I think that, to your point, we see a lot of coaches that get let go for whatever reason, go somewhere else and have greater success in their next destination. But to me now as a college coach and having experience of being in one area, hell, I've only been here, only been at Georgia State for 2 years. But you talk about coaches like him and other coaches that have been there for longer. Their tenure has been a hell of a lot longer. They're comfortable where they are. They're a lot older. They got their family there. So maybe that is the motivation. But he also understands that DUI could sit on his record forever. You're doing these interviews, you're talking to going to these other schools. That's some shit that doesn't go away. So, my mind, maybe that is the motive because he knows that. But this needs to get resolved, not only for him but also for West Virginia, in my opinion. And it needs to get resolved quickly because if not, this shit can definitely hurt both parties.
Yeah, it can hurt both parties. And, with all these, and speaking of which, it's conference, it's realignment week here on Ice Post Radio. And, we'll talk about the NBA tournament here in a second, which is something else. But, talking about, realignments and stuff like that. The Big 12, everybody's going through changes here in these conferences here in college sports. In the Big 12, you add in Cincinnati. I think UCF. Who else they added? Was it BYU, I believe. And I feel like I'm missing somebody. Houston. So you got those schools coming in. Houston, Kelvin Sampson, as past couple years had a Final Four team. Cincinnati, had a little rough patch here. Cronin left, had to have a coach. He got in trouble, all that stuff. But, if they get the right person in, they can do some things. BYU, they can get some good players and get things rolling. So, you look at it as a conference in the Big 12 D-Lock, with all the realignments and stuff like that going on in college sports, especially the ACC, Big 10, their new additions coming in the following year. You kind of want to be left behind in limbo in a coaching situation. And, if Bob Huggins stay in the fold, fine. But also think about Bob Huggins, at least 70, 71 years old. And you got to think about getting that next young guy in the fold. So, I don't know where it's going to end. If anything happens, ladies and gentlemen, we'll talk about it. But I don't see where it goes from here if you're Bob Huggins. In university, you may trying to get something figured out here soon, or your program is going to suffer for it.
Yep, that's what I think. You got to get the shit done right now. The longer you wait, the worse it's going to look.
And speaking, saying in the theme of this week of realignment and all that, the NBA announced their in-season tournament that they've been talking about for the past couple of years that Adam Silver's been wanting to do. Let me pull it up because it's really nobody really knows why they doing it. I don't know. It just seems kind of odd why they doing it. But let's go through it real quick. From what I remember off the top of my head, I think the winning team gets like each individual player get like $500K if they do win the tournament and stuff like that. The standings still goes towards the regular season, I believe. All that good stuff. All these teams are be put in pods, different pods and stuff like that in their conference. So let's go to groups real quick in this alignment. Group 1 in the East, you got Philly, Cleveland, Atlanta, the Pacers, and the Pistons. Group 2, you got the Bucks, Knicks, Heat, Wizards, and Hornets. Group 3, you got the Celtics, Nets, Raptors, Bulls, and the Magic. To kind of stay there, D-Lock, in this realignment for this tournament, who comes out? I mean, in your eyes, who you think come out in each of these pods? In your opinion,
Well, looking at them, first of all, I think the toughest part out of all of them is, the one with the Celtics, Nets, and the Magic and the Bulls. That just seemed like it's going to be hell. I think that alone is going to be one that's going to play a huge part. And when you got that, we talk about the Bulls. They're in a tournament where it's going to be kind of tough all the way around. I definitely like Milwaukee to find a way out of their tournament. And I think that with that, you're going to have other competition. Like it's going to be Philly is going to play a huge part in theirs. But my thing is, knowing that, and the way it's set up, like it seems like there's always that one team that just is not going to be competitive. Like if you look at Milwaukee, New York, Miami, Washington, and Charlotte, Washington is probably that team that's not going to be that competitive in that tournament. But in my opinion, I just think that Milwaukee would definitely eat that one. Philly, I think they got like they're stronger. They'll easily eat that tournament. I think Cleveland will be the second best team. Or does Indiana shows me something? And then Boston and Brooklyn. Well, Boston and Chicago, I think, would be the better 1-2 teams. I think Boston eat that tournament as well.
I think I just look at it as like you gotta add some more incentives instead of like a payday. And then that payday is gonna get taxed all to hell. You know what I'm saying? I think like I thought about this idea, but I think like if you win this tournament, if you own your draft pick, you should be automatically entered the lottery drawing. I think that'd be a great incentive for any team. So, say example for Miami, if they win this tournament, they should be automatically entered the NBA draft lottery, regardless of record. They go through the regular season, win 15 games, but still. Or they can be above 500, win 50 games. But any way you slice and dice it, they should be entered the draft lottery regardless. I understand doing the early season, trying to get some attention in the league. I know Adam Silver has been kind of had this, trying to had his on his mind to do it for a while. But you got to add more incentive to it, in my opinion. You got to add more to it. So, yeah, looking at these groups in the East, it seemed like they took the top 3 seeds and put them in more favorable, in the most easiest brackets they can do. I think, Group 2 with the Bucks, Knicks, and Heat, that's going to be a dogfight. The Wizards, I think a team like that you got to watch out for. Hornets, I don't think they're going to do much. The Sixers, Cleveland, Atlanta, Pacers, in Detroit, that's a tough one right there because the Pacers, I think, are better than what they were last year. The Hawks, I'm iffy on them. Plus, they lost John Collins. Cleveland, they seen that they got better. Philly, I don't think their roster makeover is done yet. And then you look at the Boston group. I think they probably had the easiest route with some of the teams mentioned they're like in the rebuild mode. But if you look at this, Boston may come out on top on this. But I won't sleep on the Heat. I won't sleep on the Wizards. So like some of the younger teams you kind of don't sleep on in the East. And then you transition to the West real quick. You got Memphis, Phoenix, the Lakers, Jazz, and Portland in one group. In the next alignment, you got the Nuggets, Clippers, Pelicans, Mavericks, and Rockets. And then last group, you got the Kings, Warriors, Timberwolves, Thunder, and Spurs. What do you think about some of these matchups in the West real quick?
I mean, we already know that the West is going to be a hell of a lot more challenging than the East. So, I definitely I think the biggest one that's shocking to me out of all of them is Group 5. Group 5 has Fred VanVleet, Luka, Zion, Kawhi Leonard, and Jokic, all in one group. So for me, I think that is a group to watch for, and a group that can do some real damage. But not everybody can make it out. So, I mean, the Kings, Warriors, Thunders, OKC, and Spurs group, I got the Warriors making it out of that one. Memphis, Phoenix, Lakers, Utah, Portland. That is a tough one. I definitely got Phoenix making out of that one. And then the group I just named with the Nuggets, Clippers, Pelicans, Mavericks, and Rockets. Very tough, but I'm not going against the NBA champs right now. I got the Nuggets making that one.
I think for me, real quick, it's just the Nuggets. It should be, I would say, cakewalk through their group, but it should be pretty easy to them, depending on how the Clippers look, how the Pelicans look, how the Mavericks look healthy wise, and what the growth is with the Houston Rockets in their fold. The Sacramento group, the Thunder, maybe a team to watch out for, and the Warriors, depending on how they look, and the Kings. That'd be a good matchup between the Kings and the Warriors again. The Timberwolves, we'll see. And then the Laker group, we'll interested to see how the Grizzlies and Lakers match up again in that group play. Portland, like I talked about, we talked about earlier, the young group. And then the Jazz, another young group as well. But I'm going to ask you this question. Do you think some of these teams going to kind of hold out some guys or whatever? Even, with the All-NBA incentives and stuff like that included, do you think they're going to hold out some of these guys out in this tournament?
I don't know, man. I mean, the teams that want to get in that lottery, I think they do. But it depends on where they are in the season. I know they gotta want to win, and we actually make a decision how they want to win. So, for me, I think getting to that tournament is going to be big, and you have to make the decision. So, sitting players is going to be something tough to do. Those losses are definitely going to be big. So, for me, I don't know, man. I think that these teams are going to look at that and consider, what's the best way to go about it. But it definitely depends on, also who is in the draft as well. So if this is something we're going to keep for years, I think they're going to make a decision based off how high some of these players are expected to perform that they're getting out of college. So I think that's going to change. If they sit, if they don't, that's going to be something that changes every year.
Yeah, it's that's the one thing I kind of worried about is do they do some of these teams rest their players? It's like if Victor Wembanyama turned his ankle second game into this thing, the Pop shut him down for the rest of the tournament. So I don't know. We ain't having you out there for this shit. He's gonna have him sitting out. That's a possibility. So I don't know. We'll see how it works and see if, these guys are interested or not. Like I said, I think, reading an article and stuff like that, I think more incentives need to be in play, in my humble opinion. Like the draft pick idea. I know the league discussed not, whoever wins is guaranteed a playoff spot, but you kind of need more incentive in. You know what I'm saying? The draft pick thing is a great idea. If your team wins this whole tournament, you get the automatic chance to be in the lottery. What percentage do you put them at? I don't know, but your team automatically gets in the lottery, and that can go incentive in a lot of ways. Not just drafting a player, but using that draft pick as a trade capital for whatever you got to do. You're not BS to draft somebody. You can trade that pick. If your team lands in the top 5, you got a nice bargaining chip. So we'll see how the in-season tournament start. I mean, how it goes with the realignments and stuff like that. It's okay, I guess. I know they're trying to keep everybody close, but it's like, I don't know. It's just, It is what it is. I don't know. I'll give you the last slide. What you think about it?
I mean, it's not bad. I mean, I think that maybe it puts some of these teams in those positions where they have to make those tough decisions about, hey, we're going to make the playoffs or we're not going to make the playoffs. We're trying to get that lottery or not. But again, I said you got to look at the players that are going to be available. I mean, that's a prime example with Bronny James. I mean, clearly LeBron has said that he wants to play with his son. So, if he ends up being projected as a top 5 pick, top 10 or whatever, how do teams approach that? Because they could be playing for Bronny and LeBron as well. So it's just those things that can play a part. But as we know, the first year of trying something, you always see trial and error is what you need. So it's going to be very interesting to see how this plays out.
And before we get off the air, ladies and gentlemen, Portland's up on San Antonio 60-44. Let's see. I don't have the stat line in front of me on Victor Wembanyama. Let me pull that up real quick. Pulling up just a second, but the times I look up the TV screen, he has looked pretty good. The passes.
He has 17 points already.
17, okay. So like we discussed on the show, they had the line at 17. Is that correct?
Yep, 17 and a half.
So scoring wise, he has come out better than he did against Charlotte. So, kind of see some, growth from this game to that, from the previous game. I think that's a good encouraging sign. But like I said, Portland's still up double digits. So Wembanyama scoring better, passing better, I think, still gets knocked around pretty easily. But like I said, in time, I think he can get past that and all that good jazz.
He has 8 rebounds right now as well.
Yes. Oh, yes. I mean, if you that big, you can't rebound. Then I don't know what we're doing here.
Exactly.
Like that. It's like an old saying in basketball. Well, you can say in sports in general, but mainly in basketball, you big for no reason. So, 17 points for Wembanyama, 5 of 8 from the field. He's sitting on the bench right now. So for the Spurs, so we'll see if he gets back in. But this has been our show tonight, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for tuning in with us. We got a lot in, like we hope we did, and I'm glad y'all tuned in with us tonight. D-Lock, how can the people find your social media real quick?
Got to find me at Black-813. Anthony Black looked special yesterday, so I'll definitely be talking more about that and other plays as far as Jet Howard and others. Let them know they can find you at the show's page.
You can find the show's page on Twitter at FastBreakIESR. That is Twitter, FastBreakIESR. We haven't checked into the threads thing yet with Instagram. We'll look into it, see how it rolls and all that stuff. If we do set up an account, we'll get that rolling over there, because God knows what the hell Elion's doing with Twitter. So do check out on Twitter at FastBreakIESR. Do check out iesportsradio.com for all your latest shows, news, and feeds. A lot of good shows on the network. A lot of good guys and gals do a lot of hard work. So do check out everybody on the network. I do have it on my personal Twitter account, Spawn4288. That's Spawn4288. I do know of a show on the side called The Crooks Process. Do follow the show at Instagram and Facebook, The Crooks Process. You'll see the CP logo there. Follow me on TikTok as well. Spawn4288 is right now, but I'll probably change the name here soon. And also, Post a lot of content on a Twitter page. Do check that out. You know, game analysis, all that stuff by Victor, all that good stuff. Videos. So give it a like, give it a retweet. You know, it shows that love right there on Twitter. But until then, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for tuning in with us. We'll possibly be back here next week. We'll see how the week goes and any news breaks like that for Harden, Dame, or whatever. And, you know, Summer League news. But until then, we'll talk to y'all later. Peace.